as ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In a major story, Nigeria's military officially confirms death of a Boko Haram commander posing as Abubakar Shekau in videos. Police lose 2 survivors of Goza attack, assure of adequate security in 2015 general election. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar formally declares presidential lead in 2015, signs Nigeria on autopilot. And outside Nigeria, a group loyal to deadly Islamic State militants beheads French hostage in Algeria. And now the news in details. Nigeria military has officially confirmed that Boko Haram commander who has been posing as Abubakar Shekau in videos was killed in Kodunga. It also hinted that the real Shekau had since died and Bashir Mohammed had been appearing in propaganda videos released by the insurgent group. Defense spokesman Chris Olukolade said at a press briefing that Shekau was now a brand name for the leader of the insurgent group. He also revealed that over 100 insurgents have turned themselves in to troops in Borno and Adamawa states in the last 24 hours.
Which is typical when the mission involves their top commanders were fiercely engaged by the land and air forces that were there to keep watch. In the process, several of the terrorists, including some of their top commanders, lost their lives in the encounters, which lasted an average of about 5 hours each time. In the process, the troops were able to capture some of the terrorists as well as their equipment. That's in addition to those that died. And in the course of those encounters also, one Mohammed Bashir, who has been acting or posing on videos as the deceased Abubakar Shekau, that eccentric character that is known as the leader of the group, died in that operation. Since the name Shekau has become a brand name for anyone who leads the group, since the name Shekau has become a brand name for the terrorist leaders, the Nigerian military remains resolute and determined to serve justice to anyone who assumes that designation or title, as well as all terrorists that seek to violate the freedom and territory of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the police authorities say 2 out of the 20 policemen that escaped from the attack on the mobile training school in Goza have died. Acting Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abbas said this at a press briefing that another police personnel declared missing has also resurfaced. He, however, reaffirmed the police commitment to locating over 15 men who are still missing since August.
We are still making efforts to locate some of our colleagues that were missing after the attack. What is promising is that even early this week, on Monday, we received information that one of them has surfaced. Cannot tell you that any one of them, other than the ones we know, the two we have told you earlier on, that we have confirmed that yes, they have died of their injuries and their corpses were recovered and even handed over to their families and buried with all honors. We cannot tell you that anyone has died apart from those two.
As Nigeria prepares to mark 15 years of democracy, the federal government says it will do all in its power to restore peace in the northeastern region. Information Minister Labaran Magu made this pledge on the sidelines of this week's Federal Executive Council meeting. He also lamented that trillions of naira spent on combating insurgency in the region could have been used to improve other sectors of the economy.
In ensuring that we make progress and unite the rest, bring peace to that part of the country, which is a key economic zone. You know, because if you look at the Lake Chad region, depends on Borno State and Yobe. It's a huge area that is bigger than many countries in Africa. So returning peace there will speed up the economic development of Nigeria and the prosperity of our nation.
The federal government will again mark Nigeria's 54th Independence Day on the forecourts of the presidential villa. Minister of Information Labaran Magu discussed this at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Vice President Namadi Sambo. Magu said the meeting deliberated on the program of activities submitted by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ayim Pius Ayim.
On Monday, the President will be performing the investigation of National Honors awardees at the International Conference Center. The Independence proper, which is Wednesday, will be marked by a nationwide broadcast by Mr. President, which will come up 7 a.m. on Wednesday. The President will address the nation on the independence anniversary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So after the national broadcast, it will be followed up by the Brigade of Gas, exchange of gas ceremony, which usually takes place here when the anniversaries are located. And so this one will come up at 9 a.m. on Wednesday here at the villa to mark the anniversary of Nigeria's independence. It will be attended by special guests, members of the diplomatic corps, and invited guests to the ceremony. It is done to mark the anniversary of our independence.
The House of Representatives has launched investigation into claim that some lawmakers were given $50,000 to frustrate debate on the controversial $9.3 million seized in South Africa. This was after a PDP member from Taraba State, Albert Sam Sokwo, raised the matter on the matters of privilege. He identified an APC legislator, Ali Madaki, as the man who raised the allegations, which he insists tarnished the image of the House. Madaki admitted to making the claims to a journalist, but says he had no concrete proof. Deputy Speaker Emeka Ihedior, who presided over the sitting, however, referred the matter to the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges for investigation within 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the seized $9.3 million by the South African government has continued to engage some Nigerians who say the government has embarrassed itself by breaking the law. Federal lawmakers were divided on whether to debate the issue or not. Speaking on our flagship program called Digest, financial analyst Wilkos Alester says the lawmakers should not be divided along party lines on national issues such as this.
Of the PDP lawmakers in the House of Representatives. Is this a PDP affair? Does the PDP has an inclination or a hand in the movement of that money? Then something is wrong. Then certainly, like I've told you, certainly something is wrong other than what the government is telling us. Because now there is a national embarrassment. There is a case on ground, an issue on ground that embarrasses both the PDP lawmakers, the APC lawmakers, you, myself as a Nigerian. It has never been heard that a country, 9.3 million, will be seized by that country for illegally taking them into that country. And then people are saying, let us talk about it. And it's not divide you on party line. If the PDP lawmakers saying that they are aware, then that means there is a clear case of cover-up, that something else is aware that Nigerians are not aware of. Because they are our representative. Is it the PDP money? Is it an APC money? Even if PDP is in government, and you see, there are things that should go beyond party affiliations, tribal affiliations. And why playing politics with what is obviously a criminal activity?
Also on the program, a political analyst, Bola Oba, while responding to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's recipe on the Boko Haram insurgency, says the former Vice President is economical with the truth.
Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has failed as a leader to give decisive, surgical, potent leadership. I'm not excusing that. But I will not sit through a melodrama where the father of a thief is now saying, Nibo. That's what I'm telling you. Atiku has no moral latitude to cruise on, to accuse Jonathan of failure. Because I just gave you facts that the administration that he served under, Obasanjo's, it was under that administration that militant, rebellious phenomena like the South militants and some elements in the North started rearing their heads. If they were that efficacious as he's claiming now, how come those movements were not totally deracinated, totally uprooted, so that Yar'Adua and Jonathan could have started on a clean page of just looking at developmental projects? But you and I know that the president that could be given the glory of perfecting what may be said to be a sustainable peace in the South was Yar'Adua.
Core Digest, our flagship news and current affairs program, comes up every day at 9:30 in the morning. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar formally declares presidential bid ahead 2015. Find out more on these and other stories coming up shortly after this break. Stay with us.
As a doctor, I've seen lots of mothers. Now, I'm one myself. Other mothers have taught me things only a mother could know. But when it came to relieving their baby's pain and fever, many mothers don't know what to do. So I told them about Panadol Children. Panadol Children is fast and effective, and it can be taken from when they're 3 months old. I'm still learning to be a mother, and it's getting better every day. New Panadol Children, fast and effective relief from pain and fever.
This needs precision. Yes! Got to get her home before her curfew.
My dad!
Uh-oh, got to get her home fast. If we cut across 3 streets in 3 minutes and speed across the market in 2, should make it to the
Can we make it?
If we take the stairs at 30 seconds per flight, we just might. Yes! Made it in time. Mission accomplished.
Get everyday energy fast with Lucozade Boost.
Nivea Nourishing Body Lotion. Its effective formula with Hydra IQ
gives your skin deep and long-lasting nourishment for skin that stays moisturized all day long. Look great, feel great, with deeply nourished skin. Nourishing body lotion from Nivea.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're on to CoreTV Primetime News live from Lagos. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says he's seeking to become Nigeria's president because the country appears to be on autopilot with no one in charge. He cited the lingering security situation and low human development index to justify his stance on non-existence government and poor leadership. Atiku Abubakar also promised a government with zero tolerance for corruption and nepotism.
It was one of the worst kept secrets in Nigeria's politics. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar had several weeks ago made it known he was joining the race for the presidency. And now he has formally declared his interest at an elaborate event attended by his political associates.
Gentlemen, welcome.
The former vice president was quite emphatic in declaring his readiness to seek his party's nod for the 2015 elections.
With the support of millions of Nigerians desirous of change and the hard work by all of us, the APC shall form the next government of this great nation. I have therefore decided that I will, by the grace of God, along with other respected leaders of our party, seek nomination as a candidate of the APC to contest the presidential election of 2015.
For a man who is a veteran of several political battles, he did not hold back in throwing barbs at the Jonathan's administration. Atiku recounted the achievements of the Obasanjo years and concluded that the incumbent government has fared worse.
Government has a responsibility to do everything possible to hold the ongoing dehumanization of Nigerians. Unfortunately, what we have is a serious governance deficit. To put it bluntly, our country seems to be on autopilot with no one in charge. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a strong, dynamic, decisive, competent and visionary leadership that can halt the current drift of the ship of state, fight corruption, create jobs, rebuild our infrastructure, provide social services and tackle insecurity in a decisive, robust and multi-pronged way. This is the change.
He argued that Nigeria needs a strong visionary leadership and promised to head a government with zero tolerance for corruption and nepotism.
The murder of Aziza Shake, a member of the All Progressives Congress, has sparked up arguments and accusations between the deceased family and one of the major political parties involved in Sunday's shootout among political thugs which occurred on the Lagos Island. Oluwaseyi Adegoke visited the late Ashake's family and brought back this report presented from our studios.
This is the reaction of family members and neighbors of Aziza Shake, who was said to be murdered by some political party thugs in Lagos.
PDP, àwọn ìyàwó Rafiu Abiga Báṣọ̀run òun ni àtolóko dáná ń lóyìn níbọn Kazeem olóko dáná nídìí kíni nídìí nǹkan méjì ipe wọ́n gbé branch chairman wọ́n gbé fásitì Àṣàkẹ́ ó dẹ̀ tún wá rí i pé nítorí tiẹ̀ òun ò ní rí gbà ó lọ sí PDP torí APC ló wà ó cross lọ PDP ló wá ní pé àfi tóun bá rí i pé òun rẹ́ǹdì yẹn.
ó ṣe mítìn tán nínú complex ń bẹ̀ yẹn ó bọ́lẹ̀ báyìí tó wá síbi bíi tán jókòó tán ṣe fàájì náà wá pè é pé àwọn ọmọ PDP tó ń bọ̀ láti race course pé wọ́n ti attack àwọn boys ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ yẹn ló lọ síbẹ̀ pé láti lọ scare àwọn pé ẹ má jà ó stop àwọn ti bí ó stop àwọn tọ̀hún pé ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ jà òun lòun ò fẹ́ wàhálà kí ni wàhálà òun pẹ̀lú Abija ti ríra àwọn ti sọ̀rọ̀ àṣàbíjà wà láàrin wọn àtolóko dáná wọn nígbà tó máa yí sí ọ̀dọ̀ gúrùpù wọn báyìí wọn kàn bìlà fún wọn láàrin àfi gbáàwù láyà.
wọ́n fi ṣèkà fún wa ní o kò múra jà o olóhùn lọ jà o.
Reacting to the allegation against the People's Democratic Party, the party state publicity secretary Ganiu Taufik says the allegations are false and unsubstantiated.
The APC has become a party that is always quick to cry wolf, especially when they are involved in dastardly acts. It is commonsensical that members of the same family should ordinarily not fight themselves. So why will anybody come up with the argument that after a PDP rally, PDP members started fighting themselves and then their target was to kill an APC member? That is very incredible to believe. What happened as part of what I've been told was that some APC members laid ambush on our members who were leaving the TBS premises, and as our members on the island were going on their streets on same island, the APC members fired at them. Of course, that is logical because if you saw the mammoth crowd on that day, you will know that any sitting government will be intimidated if an opposition can have such mammoth crowd. So we believe that the mammoth crowd that they saw that day intimidated them and unwarrantedly provoked them.
Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Ngozi Braid declined comments over the incidents.
Away from there to Ekiti State, where the House of Assembly has summoned the Commissioner of Police and a Director of the Department of Security Service over the recent disruption of proceedings and assault of those present by hoodlums at the State High Court. Rashid has more in this report.
The Ekiti State House of Assembly expressed shock at reports of an invasion of a court proceedings by thugs. The lawmakers argue that more worrisome is the fact that the thugs carried out their act in broad daylight in the presence of security forces.
A situation where judges and lawyers were being chased around the court premises, attempting whether to kill or beat them, as the case may be, it's a dangerous dimension. The security agencies in Ekiti State should live up to their social responsibility. Because it is only when they live up to their social responsibility that we can have atmosphere of peace. What stops hoodlums from invading Ekiti State House of Assembly?
However, the police in Ekiti State said it should not be blamed for the unfortunate situation.
Security was provided there at the court premises, but the hoodlums, they came in their thousands and they scaled the dwarf wall of the court into the court premises. At that point in time, the security men, the policemen in the court premises called for reinforcement, and between the time they called for the reinforcement and the time the reinforcement actually came, some other things happened. The prompt intervention of the reinforcement forestalled what will have been a colossal and a monumental damage.
The Ekiti State House of Assembly, among other resolutions, summoned the leadership of the police and Department of State Security Service for detailed explanation.
Condemn it as barbaric, as barbaric, one. Two, invite the Commissioner of Police and the Director of SSS to come and make certain clarifications because they are in charge of security of the state, to come and make clarification on that particular issue. Then three, that the House Committee on Judiciary should actually look and investigate, both what actually led, to such an ugly, situation.
The news of the court invasion has attracted condemnation from far and near. Residents in Ekiti State say they are hopeful that investigation by the House of Assembly will prevent future occurrence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Meanwhile, the Ekiti State chapter of the Nigerian Bar Association has joined in condemning the recent invasion of the Ado Ekiti High Court by hoodlums. The NBA described it as a desecration on the temple of justice. The protest also read its head as another stampede allegedly targeted at disrupting the court from further hearing of the E11 case against the governor-elect Ayo Fayose ensued.
The crisis rocking the Ekiti State High Court sitting in Ado Ekiti may be far from over as early protesters stormed the court premises with plans to stop further hearing of the case between the E11 and Governor-elect Ayo Fayose. The case was, however, put on hold. After the protest, the Ekiti State chapter of the Nigerian Bar Association converged to condemn what is becoming a trend.
Our heartfelt abjuration and condemnation of, one, the desecration of the hallowed temple of justice in Ekiti State. Two, also the fears already inflicted on the psyche of his revered officers or priests of that temple of justice.
The lawyers frown at the plan by politicians to drag the court into the mud, a move they say signifies imminent danger for the judiciary.
This type of ugly incident will be the last time the political class in the state will ever venture to extend their penchants or mischiefs into these hollow chambers of justice. If our political leaders allow the public to lose confidence in the law courts, they will be cutting a serious anarchy in the system, the end result of which nobody can fathom for now.
With the security threat posed at lawyers and judges, especially after the Ugly Monday incident, the NBA has compelled the police to fortify the court with adequate security.
The bar strongly recommends to the Commissioner of Police to provide accurate security for the judges in high, volatile, and celebrated cases, such as the ones under reference, to carry out his duty.
However, the renewed threat, according to observers, appears far from over. Rashid, CoreTV News.
The police high command has again assured Nigerians of adequate security before, during and after the 2015 elections. Acting Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba said at the meeting with senior officers in Abuja that all parts of the country would be adequately policed. He also promised that the police would improve on its strategies in the ongoing fight against terrorism in the country.
Today's meeting is not different at all from what we used to have. However, the issues we are going to discuss in this meeting may be different. Mainly, our meeting this morning will focus on the 2015 general elections. We have made adequate arrangements. We have made adequate arrangements to make sure that the police provide sufficient security to all the activities leading to the polling days of the election. These activities have started and they include the registration of voters, the primaries, the selection of candidates, their screening, the conventions by the parties, and many others, including the very important one, which are the campaigns.
Back to Ekiti, where the state governor, Howdy Fayemi, has reacted to allegation by the opposition that he has plunged the state to huge debt. Fayemi, who begins a thank you tour to local governments in the state, says his government has lived above board in delivering dividends of democracy to Ekiti people. Rashid again has the details.
While visiting Ajoni and Ayekiri local council development areas of the state, Fayemi thanked the people of the local councils for their support throughout his 4 years in office. He commissioned projects like roads and blocks of classrooms. The governor says his government has no excuse not to deliver its promises to the people.
It would have been foolhardy on our part to come in and then start giving excuses that there's not enough money in Ekiti. We knew what it was. We knew what it was likely to be. We knew how we were going to raise funds to bridge whatever gap that we've noticed in the course of preparing for office, and that's precisely what we did.
Reacting to allegations of borrowings, Fayemi said his administration has judiciously managed all the monies it has borrowed to the benefit of the people.
Other states have borrowed as well, but we have borrowed in a manner that you can point to every single thing we did with the borrowing. You don't have to talk to Fayemi, you can just go to the Security and Exchange Commission's website. You will see the projects we borrowed money to implement, and these are projects that will last a lifetime. You cannot use short-term funds to execute long-term projects. It's a basic principle of economics.
The thank you tour is expected to cover the 35 local council development areas as part of activities marking the 4th year anniversary of his administration. Rashid, CoreTV News.
Senate President David Mark has blamed powerful lobby groups for frustrating an initial effort to control tobacco use in Nigeria, despite the passage of the bill in 2011. Mark revealed this on Wednesday after a fresh attempt to pass the National Tobacco Control scaled through second reading. Senators engaged in an intense debate before the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Health, which was mandated to conduct a public hearing.
The dangers of tobacco. We have to deal with the use of tobacco, and we must do it in such a regulated manner that it doesn't create any economic distortion. Because if we don't address the economic issues properly, then we'll end up with more of smuggled tobacco that is unregulated, and our own local tobacco industries here will be left unprotected.
I want to pray, sir, that Nigeria should be bold enough to take this decision, because it is the interest of the health of the citizens to ban tobacco.
Great seeks to clearly tell you the danger inherent in smoking, and it also seeks to regulate advertisement about smoking. Well, we've gone one step further to say, well, ban it also, but that when it goes to public hearing, then we will get public opinion on that. Let me remind us that we passed this bill actually in the 6th Senate, and Mamora was the sponsor. He talked extensively, and we had a similar debate. The same way we talk now, people who want to go to hell and they see it, if they want to walk in there, we should allow them to walk in there. Others say, no, restrict them. Don't let them walk in there. When it goes for public hearing, they will decide whether people should be allowed to freely walk to hell, or we should restrain them from walking to hell.
The committee is expected to turn in a report in 4 weeks. We'll take another break now and return with business news. Don't go away.
As a doctor, I've seen lots of mothers. Now, I'm one myself. Other mothers have taught me things only a mother could know. But when it came to relieving their baby's pain and fever, many mothers don't know what to do. So I told them about Panadol Children. Panadol Children is fast and effective, and it can be taken from when they're 3 months old. I'm still learning to be a mother, and it's getting better every day. New Panadol Children, fast and effective relief from pain and fever.
Nivea Nourishing Body Lotion. Its effective formula with Hydro IQ gives your skin deep and long-lasting nourishment for skin that stays moisturized all day long. Look great, feel great, with deeply nourished skin. Nourishing Body Lotion from Nivea.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it, don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Hello there and welcome to the World of Business with me, Sabena Izuku. The Nigerian Stock Exchange held its 54th annual general meeting at the Nigerian Stock Exchange Event Center today. The Nigerian Stock Exchange has said it will continue to formulate policies and programs that will sustain the current confidence in the market. The exchange says with the new council members on board, it is aimed at hitting 17 trillion naira mark at the end next year. Speaking at the exchange of the 54th annual general meeting in Lagos, the president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange says the exchange is working hard to take the exchange to a new level.
You remember just 2 years ago, the market capitalization was just about 6-point-something billion, and today you are talking about almost 14 trillion. From 6 trillion to about 14 trillion, almost 13.6 or 13.8. I think we've done very, very well, and we hope this market in the next 1 year will cross more than 17 trillion. They are working on it. There are a lot of companies that are doing IPOs now, and there will be more that will come in next year. The council that we're handing over to, I'm sure they will do a much, much better job. We've done our best by bringing the market where it is today.
For his part, Chief Executive of the Nigerian Stock Exchange says the stock exchange is more sophisticated than what it used to be, as it will focus on repositioning for better performance ahead.
Well, I believe the capital market at 54 has come a long way. We have electronic trading today. We have open access. We have multiple countries participating in our market, and we've grown the local investor base substantially. The institutional investor base continues to grow, especially as the PFAs continue to increase their assets under management. So I'll say the exchange at 54 is a sophisticated exchange that is trying to reposition itself as an emerging market economy exchange. And so that is the way we view the exchange.
And on the other hand, the report of the National Council, the financial statement of the exchange at 31st of December 2013, and the report of the auditors were presented to members. Some of them were Mohammed Dagash and Kayode Falowu, among others. And on the stock market report, the equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a slightly note today. The all shares index did by 0.67% to close at 40,809.32 basis points. Market capitalization increased and closes at 13.47 trillion naira. In all, a total of 427.76 million shares, valued at 11.9 billion naira, were exchanged in 4,342 deals. Report shows that Guinness PLC topped the gainers chart, followed by Dangote Summit, GlaxoSmithKline PLC, Guaranty Trust Bank, and Champion. On the other hand, Nestle PLC topped the losers chart, followed by Seplat Oil, Mobi Oil, 40 Oil, and Wapco PLC. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. The rest of the news. Please stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
Bo taking them out in the lead and
On sports tonight, former Nigeria Football Federation Secretary General Taiwo Ogunjobi has promised to revive flagging fortunes of the country's football if elected as the president of the NFF. Ogunjobi, who decried the crisis in the Nigerian football, promised to unite all warring groups in the interest of the game. The NFF elections have been scheduled to take place in Warri, Delta State on September 30. The former Shooting Stars player regretted that the crisis had given the country a bad image and vowed to change the situation. Congo national team coach Claude Leroy has named the squad for the 2 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against South Africa. The Red Devils will host Bafana in Pointe-Noire on Friday, October 10, before traveling to South Africa 5 days later. Congo are currently sitting at the top of Group A with 6 points from 2 matches after registering a 3-2 away win over Nigeria before beating Sudan 2-0 at home. Leroy has called up the players who did the job during the first 2 qualifiers, including goal scorers Fairvey Bifuma, Fodor and Prince Onyango. South Africa are currently in second place with 4 points as they started their campaign with a 3-0 away win over Sudan before they were held to a 0-0 draw by Nigeria at home. Outside Nigeria now, France has confirmed that an Algerian jihadist group linked to Islamic State militants has beheaded tourist Hervé Gordel, seized on Sunday. John Dalakifa killed Gordel 55 after its deadline for France to halt airstrikes on Iraq ran out. John Khilafa posted a video of Gardel being killed, which was entitled "Message of Blood for the French Government." He's shown on his news with his hands behind his back in front of 4 masked armed militants. He's also allowed briefly to express his love for his family before one of the militants reads out a speech in which he denounces the actions of the French criminal crusaders against Muslims in Algeria, Mali, and Iraq. The beheading, the spokesman says, is to avenge the victims in Algeria and support the caliphate proclaimed by aid in Iraq and Syria. And that's been the show tonight. A big thank you for watching. I am Nifemi Okuntoye. Thanks for being there.